I just spoke to a business owner who got approved for a $50,000 Chase 8 Unlimited card with no docs and no revenue. A $50,000 approval could change everything for you. Upgrading your landscaping equipment, stocking inventory for your online store, launching ad campaigns for your consulting business, or even expanding your cleaning company into new neighborhoods. So coming up, you'll see how they found the right business relationship manager who doubled their starting limit, the exact revenue and income numbers that got them approved with 0 documents, and the shockingly low deposit they used to open their Chase account. Seriously, most of you could do this tomorrow. And how they managed to fire off a second Chase business card application all with just one hard pull. Oh, but there's something you definitely want to know about. I just dropped a major update inside of my 0% interest business credit card database. I think that you're going to love it. This thing now includes 750 banks that offer up to 18 months of no interest. Yes, even if you're just getting started. You'll see exactly which credit bureau each bank pulls from, the 0% offers in your exact state, and which bank lets you unlock multiple credit products with just a single hard pull. But here's the part I'm really excited about. I just added real Chase approval data, including FICO scores, income, docs required, and 25 more variables, so you can see exactly what it takes to get approved before you apply. Plus, I even added a brand new top banks column that shows you which banks are actively saying yes to business owners right now based on recent data. So if you're serious about stacking business credit cards without interest, this is where you start. So hit the link below to get instant access. Now, when people hear someone got approved for $50,000 with a brand new business and no revenue, the first thing they ask is, what did their profile look like? So let's see why this person was in the perfect position to win. First off, they were in the state of South Carolina, which is my home state, by the way. So this kind of is close to home. And here's a little insider tip. Your location actually matters. So Chase usually pulls different credit bureaus depending on where you're based. So here they pulled Experian. Their personal credit score was 782 in Experian with their FICO 8 score. And that's excellent, but it's not perfect. And that's the thing. You don't need a perfect 850. High 700s puts you in the sweet spot where banks start rolling out the red carpet for you. Their recent inquiries, they just had 1 inquiry in the past 6 months. And you really want to aim for below 3 in the past 6 months. So they're good there. Banks really love to see that you're not shopping around for credit like crazy. It signals stability and confidence. Their credit utilization was 13% usage across all cards. And if you've heard the golden rule of keeping it under 30, that's not true. You want to shoot for below 10%. Their credit age, the average age of accounts was 5 to 7 years. That's enough history to show that you're not new to the credit game. They had 0 negative marks. So that's no late payments, no collections, no bankruptcies. They were clean. And this is critical if you want big business limits without docs. Their business type was real estate property management. Their business age was just 2 months old. That's basically a brand new LLC. And yes, even this new, you can still get big approvals if you know what you're doing. This punches a massive hole in it that you need 2+ years of business to get business credit. Their business revenue was $0 collected so far, but their projected revenue was $425,000 in the first year. And this is proof that banks aren't always looking at what you've done, they're looking at what you're planning to do. So having a believable high projection helped position their business as high potential. Their stated employment income was $175,000, and that was for their W-2 household income. And this is really huge too. While many small business owners are still figuring things out, showing strong, stable W-2 income in the 6-figure range made it easier for Chase to feel good about approving a large limit. As far as employees reported, they said yes to that. So even if technically they were self-employed, they still reported themselves. And this is something you always want to do. List yourself and any partners as W-2 employees. If you're actively working in the business, it makes the company look more real and stable on paper. Now, moving on. If you want a big business approval, you need to look like you mean business. So here's how their setup was dialed in before even touching a credit application. Their first move was opening a business checking account with Chase. Their initial deposit was $3,000 onto the account on day 1. So not $30,000, not $100,000, just $3,000. And that's a number that's realistic and reachable for a lot of new business owners trying to get started. And also, instead of rushing into an application the same week like most people do when they're excited, they waited about 30 to 40 days. You'll hear a lot of people say that you need 90 days or more, but the truth is 30 to 40 days of smart activity can be enough if your profile is strong. Then what they did is made small deposits and withdrawals 2 to 3 times a week. just enough to show the account was alive and breathing. So no crazy big balances, no wild transfers, just simple, steady, predictable movement of money. That's exactly what the banks want to see now. Also, you should know that before any applications actually went in, this business owner worked with a business funding agency for coaching. They didn't just guess what to do. They got professional guidance on how to optimize their personal credit profile and how to structure their business details the right way and who to initially approach at Chase. But here's the part that really stands out. They didn't rely on anyone else to do the major work for them. They took the coaching, executed everything themselves, and you'll see they even went further than the agency expected. And you got to remember that coaching can give you the roadmap, but at the end of the day, how far you go is really up to you. Now, after a month of setting the stage, it was time to make a move. But the way you apply matters just as much as what you apply for. So here's how their strategy played out. The application was initiated in person with a local business banker at the branch. Once the $50,000 request was discussed, it was escalated to a regional business relationship manager who had the authority to approve higher limits. So the regular branch employees can usually only approve up to $25,000 for business credit cards. They were told that anything bigger, you must be handed off to a regional BRM to unlock the higher levels. When it came down to getting a decision, it came back in about 5 business days. So it wasn't instant, but for $50,000 with no documents, it's absolutely worth it. Now, when it came down to the numbers, Chase ended up approving them for about 12% of the projected first year's business revenue. That's a very healthy ratio for a startup with zero collected income. And before we get into their second Chase business card application and whether they got approved or not, hit the subscribe button to let me know if you want to see more approval data points like this one. It's the best way to let me know that I'm doing something right. Now, after scoring that massive $50,000 approval with Chase, there was a natural next thought. Hey, I'm already in, maybe I can grab another card while the momentum's hot. So for the next move, they applied for a second Chase business card, this time a travel-focused card with a $25,000 limit in mind. And honestly, the logic made perfect sense. The first card went through clean. There was no documents needed. The credit score was excellent, and their banking relationship was fresh and active. Why not stack another approval while everything was looking good? But here's the reality check. The second application got denied. And it wasn't because of credit score. It wasn't because of income either. And it wasn't even because of anything wrong with their banking relationship. The official reason Chase cited was business too new. That's it. So banks like Chase sometimes internally flag businesses that are under 6 months old, even if the owner looks bulletproof on paper. They want to see the business breathing a little longer before extending even more credit. What I found is that getting approved for a big limit isn't just about your credit score or business revenue. It's about how you position yourself when you walk into that bank or get on the phone. So here's how to guide the conversation to stack the odds in your favor. Now, first impressions are everything. Before they start making assumptions, tell your story the way that you want it heard. So start the conversation confidently with something like, I have a strong personal credit profile. My FICO score is around 780 and I have low utilization and a perfect payment history. You want to do this because bankers are trained to assess risk immediately. So by leading with your strengths, you frame yourself as a low risk, high value client right from the jump. Next, you want to clearly explain your business, plain and simple. You don't need a Shark Tank pitch though. You need a clean, boring, profitable sounding business description that even a stranger can understand in 10 seconds. For example, you can say, I own a real estate property management company. We handle leasing, maintenance, and rent collection for property owners. It's a fee-based business with recurring, predictable income. So you notice that there's no jargon, no complicated tech terms either. It's just simple, safe, and bankers like that. And I would say you want to be specific about your credit needs. This is huge, and this story proved it. If you're vague, you get vague results. If you're specific, they take you seriously. So you want to say something like, I'm looking to establish a $50,000 business credit line to help cover upfront equipment costs for a new commercial cleaning contract we just landed, and to hire 2 additional employees to service the account. And I'd say it's important to attach a purpose to the money, not desperation. Banks love funding growth. They hate funding survival. You also want to mention your banking activity to show you that you're serious. So if you already have a business checking account with them, leverage that. This proves that you're not just rate shopping or trying to hit and run for a quick credit card. You can casually drop in something like, I recently opened a Chase business checking account and have been actively transacting over the past few weeks. It sounds small, but it really just plants a small seed that you're building a real relationship, not just asking for favors. You also want to frame yourself as a long-term client. This is a pro move though, that most people just skip. You want the banker to picture you growing with them, not just disappearing after you get the card. You can say something like, my goal is to establish a strong relationship here long term. So over time, I'd love to expand into business lines of credit, merchant card processing, and other services as my business grows. And you want to ask the right questions to get routed to the right person. So now that you've positioned yourself perfectly, don't leave fate to chance. You want the person who has the authority to get you the limit that you're targeting, not someone who can only give you $10,000 and a smile. Here, you can ask respectfully, but directly, based on what I'm looking to accomplish, who would be the best person to help me get approved for a $50,000 business credit limit? If they hesitate or seem unsure, you want to press gently. Would it make sense for me to work with a business relationship manager who handles larger approvals? Just really make sure that you're dealing with someone who has the right lending authority, not someone who's limited by small desk level approvals. Also, here's a secret that you probably won't find written anywhere on the Chase website. I only found out about this from a 7-figure business owner who works directly with the Chase business relationship manager. And what they shared could really save you a lot of time and frustration. So in the past, it was sometimes possible to get help from a business banker in any region, especially if you had a strong profile. But recently, Chase kind of tightened up on their internal rules. Business bankers and relationship managers are now assigned by state, and they're expected to focus only on businesses formed in that same state. So what that means for you is that if your business is registered in Florida, but you happen to be living or traveling through Georgia, the Georgia banker likely can't help you anymore. But I'll be honest with you, finding the right business banker that will be willing and able, keyword able, to approve you for high limits like this is going to be tough for most people. But here's the good news. If you're running a real business, you don't even need a BRM to unlock funding. For example, a U.S. bank is quietly offering $50,000 to $100,000 in unsecured low doc business loans, and you don't even need to track down a gatekeeping banker to get it. It's called a quick loan, and it could be your shortcut to fast capital without a bunch of legwork. So check out the next video here to learn how I was able to request over $65,000 in funding with no document uploads, what a U.S. bank insider told me about the smartest way to apply too. Thank you for watching.